I mean, this place is so beautiful and it's so nice reading here, but I'm surrounded by a lot of goose shit, which is definitely throwing me off a bit. Today, I'm gonna do something that I haven't done all year. I'm gonna read a book. I know, I'm kind of scared about it also. Like, what if I get bored? Or what if I get a notification on my phone and I wanna check it? So I wanna read a whole book in one day. I'm going to the library right now and I wanna set myself up for success. So looking for a short book. I want it to be fiction and I want it to be a genre that I typically like. Thriller or mystery or horror, and I want it to be something relatively modern, like written in the last 10 to 15 years. Basically, I want to set myself up for success and read something that I'm actually going to enjoy. I ended up going with Speak No Evil. I was just there for like 45 minutes in like paralysis and wanting to make sure I chose the right book. Oh, the bus is coming. And so I just like went with the one that I thought like, oh, this seems enjoyable. The book I got, it's written by Uzodinma Iriala, I think is how his name is pronounced. And it's really interesting. It's about a guy, he's in his senior year at high school, and he is closeted, and he is dealing with very strict Nigerian parents and also dealing with being like the only black kid in his neighborhood. He lives in Washington, D.C., and he's just kind of struggling with issues of identity, and it's really interesting. When I was a kid, I was like such a voracious reader, and now as an adult, it really is a struggle, I think, because social media completely shot my attention span. So I want to get back into reading books, more than just nonfiction books, which I've always really enjoyed. I think I read about 35 books last year, if you include audiobooks, and I just want to get back into it. So far, I'm really enjoying the way that this book is written. All the sentences kind of run into each other. The dialogue, it's not done in quotations. It's like everything is just a sentence. As I started reading it, it took a little bit getting used to, and I missed having the like quotations, but after a little bit, I actually started to flow a lot quicker. And I just like the idea of somebody writing something and it all being one unbroken paragraph. And I like because it's written in first person, it almost feels like he's recounting everything. And so it kind of makes sense for it to all just be one long paragraph. I am definitely guilty of doing the thing where I go to the bookstore and I buy like 3 books and then I put them on my shelf, like next to all the other dozens of books that I get and never read. Like I have such high aspirations for reading, but then I never get to it. And I know it's because I'm just distracted, because every time I get into a good groove where I'm reading a lot, I'm so much happier. So there's 207 pages in this book. I'm on page 53, so I'm about a quarter of the way through. And it is a breezy read. It's really well written. I love when books give you a window into a culture that you're not as familiar with, especially when it's like a universal story with interesting characters. Like, I don't know that much about Nigerian culture. And so it's cool to read these characters and get a window into their lives. It is such a beautiful day in Chicago, so I'm really enjoying walking around to different places, parks and cafes, and finding little nooks to read in. But I have to say that it makes it harder to finish this book when I'm spending a lot of my time walking around from place to place. So I might just need to find a spot and get a bunch of reading done. I hate when I'm like scrolling on YouTube for an hour, and I probably have watched hundreds of YouTube shorts and I can't recall any of it. And I hate that feeling. And I think one of the great things about reading is when you're spending more time on one thing, on one story, you just remember it more. You take it in a lot more and it becomes a lot more meaningful and a lot more enjoyable. I'm now halfway through the book and I think I'm gonna head back home. It's sun's starting to go down and I'm gonna go on a walk with Brianna and some friends of ours who are fostering a dog. And so I think I'll finish when I get back. Your coat matches his coat.
Yeah. Yay. Good boy.
So I finished the book last night. I did not get it on camera because at a certain point, when you're really into reading a book, you don't want to pay attention to setting up a camera. At least that's how I felt. And this book has a very sad ending. And as I was getting into the final chapters and the final pages, I definitely didn't feel like wanting to all right, gotta grab my camera and tripod and film myself fake reading this. I'm like, oh my God, this is so sad. I mean, it was sad, but I don't want to fake that kind of thing. So I did finish it last night at around 10:30 p.m. and I really loved it. And it reminded me how much I love fiction books. As I was reading yesterday, I was just enjoying myself reading. And, sometimes I feel like as I'm reading, I'm not just reading the book, but I'm kind of like outside of my body thinking about reading the book. This is kind of sad, but like being proud of myself for reading. Wow, David, look at you reading a book. You're such a good reader. Yeah, you are. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, I should be reading for the enjoyment of reading. I have a friend who reads constantly. I mean, she will literally read a book in a night and not really think about it. Like, for most people, reading a book in a day is not an accomplishment. And it really wasn't about that for me. It's just about getting into the swing of things, to get into reading again. And in that respect, I think it worked because I can't wait to pick up my next book and start reading again. I am heading back to the library to return the book. And I have to say, there is also something about the ritual of going to the library, getting the book, returning the book, that is really fun to do. If you enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe and like this video. And also, if you could, comment. A lot of my videos have not been getting comments, and maybe it's because I'm not asking you guys for them. So comment below your favorite short fiction novel that you've loved and read in a day that you would recommend. All right, I will see you guys later, and hopefully I can return this book before it rains.